Planned Brotherhood is not affiliated or associated with Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood is, in fact, a registered trademark of Planned Parenthood, the Federation of America Incorporated. Thank you kindly.
It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time. It must have been, it must have been, it must have been a happy time. The sun would shine, the candy bars, Kool-Aid flowing like wine, the comic books, the TV shows, the bubble gum, the kitty cat.
I remember when I watched this episode and I was about DJ's age, I felt the same way when it came to my Uncle Barry sometimes.
Yeah, I see that. But I don't feel like Uncle Barry was this on and had so many jokes written for him.
And he wasn't running out to play basketball anytime.
Curly mullet. I remember once when Uncle Barry had come. I think this was the time when me and Dad went motorcycle camping, and you didn't come with us because Barry was coming to Tacoma.
And my Barry boner would not allow it, yeah.
Yeah, and then Barry came, right? I was thinking for some reason he didn't show up.
No, he actually apologized for this on episode 60 or 61 when we had him on. But, yeah, basically, it was a trip Dad had been planning for a couple of weeks with his motorcycle buddy.
Terry B.
Weird to think about now.
Yeah.
What was Dad's motorcycle? Not cool. Yamaha Midnight.
Virago?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But, you know, we'd gone
Which,
riding.
he sold off to Chris Smith for like $100 or something like
really?
that. Yeah.
Did it still run?
I don't think so, but I don't think it needed much work.
No, it just
just had sat there forever.
Yeah.
It was pretty much a brand new motorcycle.
Dad didn't go through a lot of phases like that, I don't feel like. Like, he was pretty much just obsessed with TV and yelling at Mom.
Yeah, but every now and then he would drop money on something like that when he always complained about money, and it wasn't something that stuck. Like, he didn't get his money's worth out of that motorcycle.
No, but he took the time to get the proper license. And
yeah, I know. He just went full bore into it for a few months and then forgot about it. It's weird.
And it's not like he crashed or anything and became not that I remember anyway.
I think he was needed at home, quite frankly.
But yeah, he had planned a trip that we were going to come along on and go camping, and Mom wasn't going to be there, and it was going to be a great time. But then Uncle Barry, for some reason, was coming in town from Yakima, I suppose, at the time. So yeah, I just ditched out on those plans because I wanted to hang out with him and do nothing except for follow him around and ask him Weird Al related questions. And
you were what, like 13, 14?
Was I even that old?
I don't know.
It was the same time that Mom was friends with Janice, I remember, because I ended up spending most of that weekend with her and Mom, watching Fried Green Tomatoes and gossiping about other people in the religion.
Were we living in the house on D Street?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, we were.
Yeah, so I had to have been at least 12, maybe 13.
Okay. Yeah, I was probably 11 on that camping trip because I went on. It was a great camping trip.
I know. You told me all about it when I came back. But Barry did end up showing up at the house for like 15 minutes before his friend Pat called him, and then he was gone for the rest of the weekend.
Oh, really?
And I was stuck with Janice and Mom.
I don't even remember Barry bringing that up.
Yeah.
I remember. It might have been that time, and I remember sitting in the car with Mom, and she had seen Barry, and I hadn't. And for some reason, I had thought she said something about him having a ponytail. So, like, I wanted to ask her about it, but I didn't want to sound stupid. So I was like, what did his hair look like?
That's the same question.
Yeah. I just remember her response was, I don't know, it looks like he's actually combing it now.
Yeah, so I got to hear catty dialogue like that the whole weekend that you were out, eating sandwiches around a fire and being awesome.
Yeah.
Although how awesome could it have been with Dad there?
I remember having a ton of fun. We went. It was like a long motorcycle trip. We stopped at a store. I got like whatever I wanted to eat.
That's always exciting as a 10, 11-year-old.
Yeah, and you get like extra because you get to bring it back to the campsite. Like I got a bunch of gummy bears. A pop, of course.
I'm getting jealous all over again.
Yeah, it was fun. And then I remember something about there being like this big pond thing, and out in the middle of it there was an island with like a table on it, and you could like row a boat out there. And Terry B was telling me how he had really good cop eyes, and there was $100 bill sitting on that table, and I should swim out and go get it. And like him and Dad were like doing a bit, I realize now, like where they were trying to convince me, but it's like 10 o'clock at night. Obviously, they would never let me do it. But like I'm seriously thinking about it. I'm like, it's $100. Like, can I get a log and float out there? Like, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun trip.
I think Terry B must have been kind of a funny dude because a similar story, now I realize a bit, is when probably talked about this. I really wanted to see Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, as did you, and then you got sick, and so we weren't going to go, and I was super pissed at you about being sick. But I knew you weren't faking it because you really wanted to see that movie.
Yeah.
And it would have been worth it. I realize now when it reruns on cable. See that on the big screen, my God. But Terry B was over hanging out with
We
Dad.
saw that at the drive-in with Ryan Haidt.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What was the other movie
I
in our
don't
double
remember.
feature? But Terry B, once he realized you were sick and that I was mad about it, he's like, you know what you should do is the next time his mom's about to take his temperature, suck on an ice cube for a second. And he was obviously just joking and knew I wouldn't get away with anything. But then I tried to convince you because I didn't see it as a way of fooling Mom. But Terry B knows some secret cure for your sickness, and it's sucking on an ice cube. Funny dude. You think he's still alive?
Yeah, I saw him 5-6 years ago when I lived in Tacoma.
This guy, how tall? I mean, he seemed gigantic to us as kids.
It's got to be 6'7".
6'7", and he was married to the shortest woman on the planet.
Yeah, she was really small.
And when I got to
he was
about age 13, we would, I think, have hush-hush conversations about how weird sex must be for them.
Yeah.
Not really knowing what sex is.
Yeah, and I think we heard Mom and Dad making those jokes too. He was one of those cops that was like always did the Dare field days and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we went camping, it was like water weenies, and we're like spraying water at each other.
And he had like fun-sized paydays because those are what you throw out at Dare field days.
And his wife had a really fake laugh. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
I can't even do it.
No, you went into a fit trying. Now, interesting thing about being a cop as a Jehovah's Witness. Apparently, it's
that was
allowed.
interesting.
We'll see about that.
Well, I mean, you're not allowed to be a cop.
But he was before he came into the religion.
Right.
And so I guess that's the loophole. But because he carried a gun for work, he was not allowed. I mean, he wasn't shunned like a disfellowshipped witness would be.
No.
But he wasn't allowed to give talks.
So,
He wasn't allowed to do anything.
And this is one of those things that always made me mad about that religion. Like, he was a good witness or whatever, but they talk about how you can't have a job like that because it's putting in danger. But the whole time he didn't quit because he had like 7 years left and then a really great retirement or something like that. So they're like just spending that time grooming him to like, because as soon as he retired from that job, he became an elder and like just everything he couldn't do before he was doing then.
I wonder what his
And,
one last job was.
But you know, they should have been like, if you can't leave this job, you know, you're out of the religion. You know what I mean? Technically, that's what they should have done. Like, there's been, you know, I've heard stories of people, Jehovah's Witnesses, who were smokers when they started in the religion.
Grandpa for one.
Yeah, but that was back when you still could smoke. I'm talking like more present day.
Oh, okay.
So you start the religion, but you're addicted to cigarettes, and they've like given people time limits. Like you need to quit in like a year, and if you can't quit, then you can't give talks, you can't do this, you can't do that.
And of course, Jehovah's Witnesses don't see that as irrational.
Yeah.
At least give them a year deadline and a box of chantings.
But with Terry B, it was like, oh, we know that in 7 years you'll retire, so go ahead and keep living this lifestyle you're not supposed to be living. Which, I mean, that's ridiculous in itself, and they know it is. But like, go ahead, keep doing it, keep being a cop, and when you're done, you'll have a lot of money, and then you spend all your time here with us. And
Which I'm sure, if he's still alive,
he does.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
does.
saw him. He was looking good.
he saw him 5 or 6 years
He
ago.
also had a tattoo.
He's tall enough to where it looks like he could have a disease of some kind.
He'd wear tank tops all the time, and he had an American Eagle tattoo, like on the back of his neck. And then
I'm sure we were just mystified by all of this.
And I remember one time when we were camping, he was
tattoos aren't allowed either in the religion.
No.
Again, harming your body,
Yeah.
putting your body in danger with a tattoo needle.
There's lots of witnesses with tattoos that got them both before and after they were baptized.
I only know the ones who had them before.
Really? There's so many girl Jehovah's Witnesses. Are you kidding me? They all have tattoos.
That's true.
And they all got baptized when they were 11. So it was after. But one time Terry B was wearing one of those hats that had a ponytail sticking. It was like a fake ponytail.
I remember that hat.
And I was like, he grew a ponytail. Like, how did he do it so fast? And he was like, oh, yeah, when we're at the meetings, I tuck it into the back of my shirt.
You really were dumb as a rock.
Yeah, and I bought it.
I not only did you buy it, but I remember you trying to convince me, and then we'd be looking for it. Like we'd try and sit behind them at the meeting.
Yeah.
Terry B. Fanny Burp, let's move on.
Jehovah's Witnesses. There's a girl at work whose initials are JW, and I call her JW.
That's fun for you.
Yeah.
Paolo, friend of the show, fan of the show, friend is strong. First of all, I thought I saw
Next
Paolo the
boyfriend
other
of
day.
the show.
I only know Paolo based on Facebook, really. And there was a guy at Shorty's when I was hanging out that I was convinced was him, except for the guy cussed like a sailor. And I know our fans are classier than that.
Yeah.
But he did look exactly like I imagine if I ever were to meet him in real life.
And you know, Paolo, there's a lot of hiking in the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of hiking.
I know. That's why
Climbing and
it
stuff
didn't
like
seem
that.
totally out of the realms.
Yeah.
So then I was trying to make my presence known as I was leaning over to order a beer at the bar.
It's like a beer. Put it on Plan Brotherhood. I got a tab.
Nick Allers. I know you only take cash, but my name is Nick Allers. I'd like to. They take more than cash now. Oh yeah, you were there for that.
Yeah.
Irrelevant. I was just bringing Paolo up because I had made some joke about janitorial work on Facebook recently, and our Uncle Tracy pointed out a pretty interesting thing, which is I hadn't really thought about. But janitorial work is the ideal profession of a Jehovah's Witness.
So many people, and they like own the whole company, and all Jehovah's Witnesses work for them.
Right. And why is that?
I don't know.
Because their schedules are flexible and they have time to devote.
Yeah, I guess it's
devote
the
it to
hours.
preaching
You
work.
don't go to work until 11:00 at night or whatever.
Yeah. But then Paolo pointed out that janitorial work is also a JW.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I remember when Barry quit the janitorial company that the Ladners owned, and he was like, apparently you can't call, or he said something about calling Mike and being like, apparently you can't call sick even if you're bleeding out of your anus.
No. He first of all,
that's what he said.
he got the job, and he went to one day of the job. Second day calls in sick.
Yeah.
And
Barry is very sickly. I don't know how sick he actually is or whatever like that, but he's
in this case, I
always
think he
sick.
was his sickness had more to do with AOL having recently come into our house and him wanting to troll JW chat rooms looking for 13-year-olds to talk to.
Wow. Just go right for it.
We talked about it when he was on the show. I think it's fair.
Okay.
I'm just saying, I doubt he was sick.
It's what keeps me up at night.
And they were upset and, told him so. I don't know that they fired him, but they were upset that he called in sick on his second day and didn't give them hardly any notice.
Yeah.
So he quit almost immediately after that and wrote them a note, a harshly phrased note that included the harsh phrase, "I could be bleeding from my anus and you wouldn't care." Nice
Wow.
work, Barry.
And then he has
Nice
to see them at the meeting.
No. I remember thinking, though, like, because college, they talk down college and the religion like it's just going to take away from, this time that could be devoted to God's work.
Yeah, there's like the life of living in college, and it's very immoral.
Right. So I did think about it, like when I would occasionally think about, my career growing up. Janitorial work's kind of seemed right up my alley.
Yeah.
And I do like to clean.
Yeah.
And I do like to just jam out to my iPod.
Like, I took a janitorial job here in Yakima, and it was from Jehovah's Witnesses. It was our old roommate Randy's dad's company or something like that, who's like, but his grandpa, it was his job or something, and they gave it to me, and it was cleaning that terrible Chinese restaurant.
I remember.
Which you did a couple days a week, and none of us ever wanted to do it. I always dragged Alvina along. She hated me for it. It was.
I tried to
fucking
drag
terrible.
Storytelling, who I was dating, along with me at the time. She hardly ever went either.
Because of that job, that's why I don't even know how long ago that was, but last year was the first time I got a tax return because of that job.
Now, why is that? What? How did that break
Because
bad?
We had it for however long we had it, and he paid us money tax-free. Like, we had to claim it. Like, we had to get a business license, which we never got, and we had to claim it and pay taxes on it. And however long we had it, I don't know if it was a year or less or what. But
It's probably less.
we never paid any taxes on it, and then it like built up and shit like that.
Now, were you told when we took it over that was our responsibility?
And I was like, oh yeah, I'll go
I guess
do
I
that.
just assumed it was already taken care of.
I was like, oh, I'll go do that. This job's going to be lucrative. And then I just fucking hated it, and I wanted out of it from the second I got there. But yeah, and then our tax returns were always kind of so small anyway that for the last several years, just every time we would have gotten a tax return, it just goes against what we owed them. Plus, we're paying like $30 a month or something like that. And then Sophie came, and that was an extra $1,000, and we still didn't get a tax return, but we only owed them like $40 more, and then we got that paid off in 4 months, you know. And then, so this year we finally got a tax return with the baby. So it's like we're not used to getting that tax return money. It was just fucking free money.
Yeah, it's exciting. I haven't gotten, I think I just file my taxes, excuse me, I don't file my taxes wrong. But when I get a new job and I'm filling out that W-4 paperwork, I think I've forgotten how to do it.
Yeah, me too. Every time. Like,
Because I ended up getting money back, like close to $1,000 when I'm 22 years old. That's great.
Yeah.
And then just this last 2 years, I've owed money. And I don't know how that fucking happened.
Yeah,
I'm still claiming zero as far as I know. I have
get
no
extra
family.
money taken out of my paycheck, and I still like owe every year. I owe a little, but
Me
then
too.
Alvina
I always
and the baby like outweighed it.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I need to bring a fucking broker in there with me the next time I get a job. And I was just I just got a new job. I started
next
last
time
week.
I get a job. Like, I'm seriously going to study that online because I need to know. I guess you could go in there and change it. I don't know if that's possible.
And you could probably ask, but then you just feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
But I remember when I got my first job at 16 years old, and Dad was preparing me. Yes, A&W restaurant. Dad was preparing me for the paperwork, and he's like, "Until you're married, just mark zero for everything." And so I was doing that. But now, like, it says, you know, if you're single, put a zero here. But then there's a place where it says, if you're single, put a 1 here or something. And then by the end, I think I'm claiming 2 dependents. I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah. If anybody can help me out here, if we have any H&R Block employees with some spare time, write us an email, brotherhallpodcast@gmail.com. I'm trying to give our email a plug here.
I was trying to make a joke about an easy form. It's not easy.
brotherhallpodcast@gmail.com. Comment on how funny PJ's joke was just now. But I just started a job last week, and I'm pretty sure I filled out everything wrong. In fact, I was sure that I was going to get called back into the office after I turned it in.
How's that job going? I don't think the last time we talked, it was you were, or not the last time we talked.
That seems unlikely.
The last time we recorded, it was like hours before you started that job.
Right.
He had just asked Nico for a ride. He said no.
Yeah, he did offer me one the next morning and then fell asleep before I could take him up on it. No, so yeah, that was kind of miserable just because I was having a lot of fun with you guys, and I had the idea in my head based on something somebody had told me over there at the office I now work on, and that's all the information I'm really going to give away.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make the same mistakes I did with my last job. But it is an office job, which I'm most comfortable with. Anyway, I figured I was just going in to incorrectly fill out paperwork, and then I could go back out and hang out with you guys. But no, like I end up staying for like a whole 9-hour shift.
Well,
day.
You checked your email the night before, and you had an email, and it was like, here's the papers you need to have filled out when you come in, which is why you thought you were going in, and you couldn't fill them out because it was like 2 a.m.
And I don't have a printer. Yeah, so I was sweating that the whole bus ride over. I was like, oh gosh, this is going to be so unprofessional. But of course they have 80 different printers laying around, and so I was able to fill it out. But no, first day of work is, well, it's only part-time, so I literally at this point I only work 2 days a week right now, which kind of sucks, but that's supposedly going to change next month. If I don't lose the job before then, which I'm already terrified I am. Because, you know, I have to become acclimated. I have to be there a long time before I become comfortable, like 1 or 2 months. And it's hard to get in a flow and start to feel comfortable when I'm only working Wednesdays and Thursdays of each week, you know. But everybody at the office is really cool. We were talking recently about the people that you hate that come in and it's their first day and they're fucking buddying up with everybody. Mm-hmm. I wasn't that guy, obviously. But when I first sat down in the office, you know, my department is one separate office, and there were 2 other guys there, and they were really nice. They were very genial when I came in, and after I filled out my paperwork, they were asking, you know, what days of the work I was going to be working, blah, 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 and so I asked them how long they'd both been there. And
sounds like a real awkward conversation.
It was, but I was keeping it going. I asked them how long they'd been there, and both of them had just started the week before. And I was like, oh, well, you know, that actually makes me feel a little bit better. Now I'm not the only newbie.
Yeah.
But these guys, the one guy, I said I wasn't going to give away too much, but it's a website that I work for. And the one guy has been a member of this particular website for like 3 years. So he already knew it like the back of his hand before he came in and applied for the job. So of course he got it. And he's answering questions for our supervisor. Like I don't really get it. And the other guy,
He's not going to be in that office long with you guys. I don't think. I think he's moving up.
I know he's going to be my boss.
I'll give him one more week.
And then the other
You got to get in good with him now. He's moving up.
Yeah. The other guy is from Brazil. And I won't go into why, but that's a really good thing to have on your side at this particular company.
Oh, okay.
What are people thinking right now?
I don't know.
Brazil Nuts. I work
know
for the
what
Brazil
it
Nuts
is,
website.
I can't make the connection. I think I can. It's a travel agency.
No, not at all. But feel free to send in your guesses. But no, it's going okay. Like, I work in the customer support department, but they haven't launched it yet. So all I've been doing is wading through emails that are well over a year old and not even replying to them yet, just categorizing them. So I'm finally comfortable enough at day 5 now to just zone out and listen to podcasts through my computer while I'm doing
It's
it.
so great that you get to do that. That's
Yeah.
awesome. That would really, except for the awkwardness, like that would be so great about an office job.
Yeah, well, that's what I really came to love about my previous job. Oh, and also as far as the dress code goes, well, when I went in for the interview, I bought new shoes and bought a new belt, wore nice pants and a nice shirt, and then when I got the job, I returned both the belt and the shoes because I needed money for, and so, but I still tried to class it up a little bit that first day I went into work, even though I knew just based on the interview when they gave me a quick tour of the office that everybody's dressed like a fucking slob, and everybody's dicking off on Facebook, and I was like, I gotta get this job. First of all, that interview was a fucking mess. I don't know how I came out with the job. Like, I was so sweaty, and I smoked like 8 cigarettes before I went in. But so, yeah, I've been making the gradual transition as far as my clothes go every day that I go in. Like, it moved from the slacks and the button-up to the jeans and the button-up, and then the jeans and the polo. And then the last day I went into work, I was wearing camo shorts with my blue Adidas. And a t-shirt.
Those are bright blue Adidas.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Plus, I'm worried about my feet and what.
See, I love that you wear camo shorts now because you would totally make fun of me for wearing those at like 16.
I found a good deal on them, and I love America. What of it? But yeah, so I'm already down with the wearing shorts. They apparently don't care. I don't know that there's anything else about this job to talk about, really, of relevance. I still think I'm going to be fired. I'm compulsive. I can check my work email from home, and I'm compulsively checking it to make sure that they're not firing me. And it's not like, it's just one day, oh, God, I didn't ask any questions.
Don't
the next
steal
day,
any-
oh, my God, I asked way too many questions.
Just don't steal anything this time.
PJ, shut
You'll
the fuck
be
up.
okay.
There's nothing to steal. Oh, this is it's a
Don't
start.
be mean to the customers. That's what got you in last time.
No, it's not. That's just the excuse they made. Really, it was my feet smell. But it's a startup company website. They've only been around for like a couple of years, so everybody is younger than me. Even all of my superiors. Not everybody, but for the most part, especially the department I work in, everybody's young and everybody's fucking beautiful. And I feel like the biggest asshole ever.
Guys and girls.
Yes, everybody's just looks like they came out of a surfing catalog.
Do they have names like Braden?
Pretty close. Again, I don't want to give away any names, but Braden is not far off at all. So close, I almost want to say it. But
Brandon?
huh?
Brandon?
No.
Hayden.
We're done now. Enzo. His name is Enzo.
Ashley, but it's a boy.
Yeah, so you have a very good idea. But no, it was great. Like my first week on the job. First of all, everything, they have a couple of break rooms, and they stock it with like chips and Nutri-Grain bars and sodas and stuff. So you can just go in there and grab what you want, which I like. Even at my last job, they offered that, but they had like an honor system thing, and you're supposed to put a telemark by your name and pay out at the end of the month.
It's not even an honor system like a donation box. You have to like tell the world what you went in there and snacked
Yeah.
on.
So Nick ate 8 pieces of jerky today. That's nice. No, I'll wait.
No, I was just turning it on vibrate. I'm not even going to check that text message I got.
So, but I noticed the first time I went in there to grab a soda or something and fucking have my own moment of sweaty panic. This was like my first day. I opened up the fridge to check it out. The whole, the crispers in the bottom are stocked full of beer.
What?
Yeah. Like.
Now, you told me that you were drinking beer on the job.
Okay,
but
first of all, I was getting to that.
Okay, sorry. I thought like it was like some weird like half day everybody party. I didn't know if it was a holiday.
No, it's just I thought I've never worked at a company so cool that they just blatantly keep alcohol in the fridge. But and then I would tell my roommate that night when I came home about that, and she's like, "Well, did you drink one?" And I was like, "No, I didn't drink one. I'm not gonna open a beer on my second day of work when I haven't seen anybody else do it." But then the first Friday comes along at this job, and my manager, who's a cutie, that's not giving away anything, right? Could be anybody. But it got to be about 4:30 on a Friday, and we all usually stay till 6, even though the hours are really liberal there, and I feel like I could do whatever I want. But I'll get to that in a second. So it's Friday, and then she goes to grab a Coke, and they're all Mexican Cokes, like the bottles with the real sugar.
That's weird.
Yeah, I don't know what this place is all about. But she comes back in, and she's like, "Hey, I'm going to go walk over to the other office because they own 2 within this particular complex, and that's where the big break room is. And we're going to drink some rums and Cokes. You guys want to come? It's Friday." And the 2 guys, of course, are very studious, and they're like, "Well, I do have to drive," and blah, blah, blah. And I, of course, said, "I'm taking the bus. I could go over there." But then when they weren't going, I didn't want to go either. And that's when she said, "Well, if you want to stay here and work, you can grab a beer out of the fridge over there." And I was like, "Okay, yes, I will. Thank you." But then we ended up going over to where the party was at, and they pulled a huge jug of rum.
They just do it on Fridays? Like what, the last hour of the day?
Yeah. They pulled a huge jug of rum out of the freezer. Some people were taking shots, others were making mixed drinks, and I was drinking beer, and it was fucking awesome. And so I texted you along with my roommate,
at, like the Flamingo Club,
and like 3 other people. I just sent out a text that was drinking beer at work, because that is fucking great.
Working at the
it's better than
Copacabana.
Secretly drinking it on my lunch break from work, which I've never done. I've never done that.
Drink on your lunch break? You ever smoke pot on your lunch break?
Absolutely not. I'm an adult.
You have.
PJ. I'm being very careful.
It could have been a long time ago.
I will not accept a single Facebook request from any of my new coworkers, because I don't want to make the same mistake of the podcast becoming, available to anybody that I work with.
But you're gonna deny friend requests from people and go, "It's private." You gotta privatize.
What am I supposed to do?
What if they start looking into you? You gotta privatize your whole profile.
Dude, if they'd looked into me with any thoroughness whatsoever, I would not have that job.
One of the managers at my work was like, "How do I might have already said this on here, but
You at least told me.
She was like, "How do I listen to this thing?" And I was like,
"Well, first you don't."
Yeah, I just asked her. I was like, "You don't want to listen to that." I was like, "It's stupid." And I go, "It's my personal life. I don't want my work life and my personal life interfering." But I've said some stuff about work before on here.
Yeah, you have. And every once in a while you'll be like, "Let's not say the name of the company anymore." But then you always slip up and do it first. Like, I don't know when I'm editing if I'm supposed to take that out or not.
Yeah.
What's funny is we'll eventually decide, like, when we're talking about ex-girlfriends of mine or whatever, "Oh, that was harsh. We should stop using that person's real name." Or Neckforders, "We should stop using her real name." Like, people don't have access to the first 100 episodes where we just threw it around.
I know we've never.
All of a sudden, we're being responsible. You know how much work it is for me just to get an episode up every week? I'm not going to go back and fix old ones.
Could you imagine how long that would take? If we went, and then we were also like, "Oh, that thing about Barry was mean. Let's go back and take that out." And we edited it all the way down. It would take years.
Too much time I'm not interested in. I went out and had a beer with a friend of the show, Sam, the other night, and he asked me seriously, almost as soon as I sat down, "Hey, how big of a deal would it be to take down every podcast that I've been a guest on?" And I was like, "Well, first of all, we're not going to do that. We've never taken down an episode at all."
Yeah.
And I asked him why, and...
One by accident. We won't say which one. We'll talk about it later. There's one that's not up there.
46?
I think it's 41.
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll cut that. No
Okay.
reason to keep that in.
Yeah.
Wasn't even a joke behind it. But yeah, he asked me to take it out, and when I asked him why, a very similar situation, like... He's afraid he may have said something about his work and he didn't want to get back to his boss or something. But Sam doesn't seem the type that would just tell a work story anyway, but say anything incriminating about anybody.
Yeah.
So I told him I'd go back and listen through. But Sam, if you're listening now, you know that's not going to happen. Do the legwork, buddy. I'll send you a list with the episodes you were on.
Yeah. He doesn't know that already by heart?
No, I don't think he's a fan anymore.
Really?
No, he listens to every week.
Oh, okay.
It seems like I have one more thing on the job thing, and then we'll be done. It's not going to turn into a show with my boring work stories again, I promise.
Yeah, but we also have roommate and relationship stories.
Yeah, for separate episodes. We could drag this out for another 20 minutes. People are having a ball right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
No, I got nothing else on work. I really like it there.
I just inherited the Saturday closing shift at my job at the Olive Garden.
Yeah, I know. I was there for it the other night.
Cut out where I said at the Olive Garden.
You are an idiot.
Yeah, it's a little more money in my pocket.
Yeah, you were not being shy about flashing it the other night.
Getting ready to go to San Francisco.
Yeah?
The week after Bumbershoot, which I'm also going to. By the way, I'm like 80% sure I can't go to Bumbershoot on Saturday.
You're going to miss Never Not Funny.
I just got that
Our
closing
sister
shift.
podcast. What if they were? What if they were?
They are.
Fight. It must have been. It must have been. It must have been a happy time.